The ultimate deck podcast. Need a show about outdoor living? This is where it's at with your hosts Shane Chapman and Way Laurent. Thank you for tuning in. Now let the show begin. Yeah, the ultimate deck podcast. Let's go.
Welcome back to the Ultimate Deck Podcast with Wade and Shane and Sean and Catherine. Oh, that was a nice little surprise treat from the last one. No plans to have them on again, but if they were to request to come back in, I would have a hard time.
You know what? It was just incredible how, like, the timing of that all. It was just like, it was. Have you ever thought that there is actually a sixth sense in the world? Do you believe that?
Explain yourself. Like what?
So there's like
I see ghosts?
No.
Like gut intuition?
I believe that there is like this
frequencies
level of interconnectedness within the world that operates that we don't fully understand. And so
it's weird. I didn't even see you smoke that joint between episodes. I thought we went so quickly into this.
It manifests in ways where I've seen, like, where you're thinking about somebody you haven't talked to in months and months and months, and then all of a sudden they call you.
That happens,
right?
And there's something to it.
And so we're in the process of talking about this, and it's like we get to Zip Up, and we're about to talk about Zip Up, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, request. And it's like they've never, not one time ever, have they requested to be on the podcast.
Wade, they were sitting in their van.
I'm telling you.
Doing nothing. They watched that episode from the start. And they said, if Zip Up comes up, we're joining this podcast. They sat through Rain Escape, Decks Are Dry, Deck, and they're like, Zip Up comes up, I'm hitting the button.
That's not true because I watched the followers.
Zip Up. Bloop. Oh, look who wants to join the podcast.
I watched the followers. We only ever had one person watching. And it wasn't them.
There's certainly trusting your gut, having gut feeling, intuition. That's a real thing. I believe that's a real thing.
No, this is
that's part of it. But you're saying, you're
interconnectedness.
So there's a seventh or an eighth or a ninth sense.
I just think it's like strange. You know,
it
just happens a little bit too often for it to be a coincidence.
Yeah, fair enough. You played hockey recently?
I played hockey last night for the first time.
Swung your stick at a guy's head.
I did.
Do you not know that is not allowed anymore?
That's had I made contact, it would have been a penalty.
Why did you? Why would you miss? If you're gonna hit a guy in the head with your stick,
I didn't really want to
hit him.
I didn't really want to. I just I wanted him to know that I could have.
What did he say?
I was so mad. He didn't say anything.
Mad or
he didn't say anything, but when I was skating back to the bench, somebody on their bench said, "Well, that's an angry elf," and I thought that was pretty funny. That was a pretty good chirp.
Call me an elf one more time.
Yeah, isn't he an angry elf?
That is a good chirp. I like that one quite a bit.
So anyways, it was just so we play hockey against these guys, and when we were in the room after and we were having drinks talking about it, we used to be them. But we're 43 now and they're 26, and we used to be the 26-year-old guys. And there was some teams we played against that hated us, and they slashed us, and they always they would cross check us and say all these mean things and swing their sticks at our head, and we would just be like, yeah, you're an old man, you can't keep up anymore. And so now we're the old men, we can't keep up anymore. Yeah. And so it's a team full of good hockey players, and they're young and they're fast and they don't ever get tired, and they just keep coming and coming and coming, and it's stop. You're up by a bunch of goals. You don't have to keep forechecking, but that's just how they play because they're not tired.
Yeah.
We're tired.
Yeah, they're not trying to be dickheads. It's just that's the speed we operate at.
Right. And so, anyways, I was in the room last night and was like, guys, I think this is it. I don't think I'm playing high-level hockey anymore. I think I have to go down a couple of tiers.
Yeah.
Can't keep up. But I scored 2 goals, which is fun. It's always fun to score goals.
Yeah. Do you feel like your perception of how a game went is influenced by how you feel you played personally?
No.
Do you feel like if you play shitty, do you feel like the team played shitty?
No.
Or do you just what's the word I'm looking for? Detach your personal performance from the team performance?
Yeah, I believe that I'm so you and I talk about this lots about being self-aware, and I believe that I'm I think I'm really good at it. I think I'm pretty good at being able to have an unbiased opinion about how it went.
Yep.
So we lost the game because one of our players came completely unglued, and he caused a 5-minute interruption in the game. We were hot. We were leading 4-1. And then there was a call that he disagreed with, and he went totally off the rails, yelling at the ref. He got kicked out of the game, and that momentum changed everything. And so we were playing okay. I had a couple goals, but they weren't nice goals. It wasn't that they were amazing. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
And that ended. That's a big comment there.
right?
Distracted by.
If you put the battery in backwards, the Energizer Bunny won't keep going and going and going. Keeps, yeah. Anyways.
What the hell is he talking about? Is that Kruger?
No.
Who is that?
No, that's Haney.
Oh, Haney. Like,
Nobody knows what he's talking about.
I thought from here, I thought it said like Kruger Construction. I was like, this is a weird comment from him.
Yeah.
But then when you said it was Haney, it completely on par.
Yeah. So, anyways, did you play hockey recently?
No. I haven't played.
Suffering from old man-itis?
Yep. I played before we went to Winnipeg, so it's been a couple weeks, but 2 days ago. So I've been trying to be healthier this year. I feel like this is a broken record, but so I started working.
Let me guess. January 1st?
No, not even January 1st, but like the second week in January. I started working out at home again, just like dumbbell workouts, and I have this great little app I like to use, and it's like keeps me like knowing what I should do and doing those things. So I even went to the gym in the hotel in Winnipeg just one day, but like I made it there. It was a big thing. So it's been all great. And I got back home and I was going to work out on Monday and definitely threw my back out, like pulled a muscle in my back. I felt it all happen. I was like doing this dumb workout. They're all dumb though.
They're all
workout
dumb.
is stupid. Every time I work out, I hurt myself. And then I have to be off the wagon. It's like, I don't know what the point of this is. But anyways, I was doing this thing where it's like you like bend over a little bit and you have two dumbbells and you're like, it's in the app. It was called a double dumbbell hanging snatch, which that sounds fun. And so I like snatched up and it's like the one time I went, I just felt whatever happened. I felt it happen. It was like right in the middle of my back. It felt like I cracked my back. It just went 3 pops, like pop, pop, pop. And then that muscle just like boom into spasm. And like, so anyway, I was pretty laid up yesterday and the day before.
Ugh.
Like couldn't stand up. Took me half an hour to get my shirt on yesterday. And,
I hate that.
So I didn't get around too much yesterday. I eventually did make it to work. I took a fair number of Robaxa sets yesterday, which made it tolerable.
Ugh.
But then even just sitting in the chair every once in a while, it would spasm and my back would just go into this like death grip tightness in the middle of my back. And it's like to release, you've got to use that muscle 0%. It's your back.
Yeah.
You use it
All
to
the time.
sit. Yep. And to stand, do everything.
It's awful. Back pain's awful.
So anyways, I woke up this morning. It's like, it's still really tight, but it's not nearly as bad as it was yesterday. So I'm on the road to recovery, I think, at some point. So no, I've missed 2 hockey games now because I was supposed to play on Monday and last night, but both of them I was like, yeah.
Can't do it.
Can't walk, let alone skate, boys.
It's so funny that you call it, you're like, now they're all dumb workouts.
Yeah,
which
they're
jogged
dumb.
my memory. So my girlfriend's 5-year-old son gets mad and then he says the meanest things that he can think of when he tries to like hurt your feelings to get back at you. So I was making him go to bed, which is not, it happens every night, but it was just like today or whatever day it was like he decided that he didn't want to go to bed. Yeah. And I was like, well, you have to, like you have to go to bed. Well, he's like, well, Wyatt doesn't have to go to bed. And I was like, Wyatt's in bed already. He went to bed fine. So we get in an argument about it. And then he was like, fine, you stupid big dumb Wade. And then he took off.
Yeah,
and he stormed into his room, slammed his door. Stupid big dumb Wade.
Yeah, you angry elf.
And then that made me laugh because you were like, they're all stupid exercises. You're like a 5-year-old. You're so mad.
Yeah. That one cuts deep though.
Deep.
For him, that was the worst thing that he could think of at that moment.
Yeah, he was so mad. And
he used your name.
Yeah.
It's like, easy, kid.
Yeah. It all fell apart because then I started to laugh. So.
Yeah. Okay. This episode brought to you by Robaxa Set. If you have back pain.
Oh, man.
No, we're going to do an episode here on some industry myths about the decking industry. So it's kind of jogged my mind because there's a lot of misinformation, maybe more so a lack of information out there. People don't, unless you're building a deck and you're doing your own research, there's a lot of things that let's just hearsay. And
like, it's certainly easier to get information now than it ever used to be because of the Ultimate Deck podcast. Like, we talk about a lot of stuff.
Right?
But
how many times do you hear from people that are like, oh, well, composite deck is slippery?
Every day.
Like, somebody bought a composite deck that was slippery and then told their friends and family that, oh, a composite decking is slippery. And then they just think that all composite decking is slippery.
The one that I hear, stain and fade, that's the one that I hear that I'm like, that hasn't been, like, it's been years since that happened, actually.
Yeah.
That's not relevant anymore. But
And those aren't even on our list of things to discuss, but that's what jogged my memory on. I was like, we should try to dispel some of these myths. Is some composite decking slippery? Yeah, but
Totally.
there's some that isn't
some
too.
that's not.
So anyways, we're going to go through 10 items that are, I would say, industry myths that we're going to dispel right now. And if the world doesn't choose to heed this advice, this information now, then you deserve whatever you get. You good with your mic cord there?
It's pretty harsh. You know what? This thing's been bugging me the whole time. This little plastic.
Stuff it down below.
I'm about to.
Number one, all composite decking
Like
is
my
the
feelings.
same. Stuff
Down below.
Yeah. Yep. All composite decking is the same. How do you feel about that? Is composite decking just composite decking?
No,
It is what it is?
absolutely not. There's several different types of composite decking. There's wood plastic composite. There is a mineral based composite. There is PVC, and then bamboo,
Rice husks?
rice husk. There's lots.
Rice hull? Rice hull?
Hull actually.
Corn husks.
Corn. Yeah.
Haven't used that one yet, I don't think.
Anyways, there's a bazillion.
Fiberglass. And then there's capped composite versus non-capped composite.
Yeah.
There's hollow core, solid plank. There's all sorts of
I
stuff.
think it's
out there.
pretty obvious now that you know more, so you can stop kicking me. It's fine.
But here's where people get in trouble with it. They think that composite decking is composite decking. I'm going to get a composite deck. So therefore, they divert to shopping nearly solely on price and aesthetic, and that's it. So it's like, do I like how it looks? Yep. Then I'm going to buy the cheapest one that I like how it looks, because they just assume
They're
that
all
all
the
composite
same.
decking is the same. But as with nearly any consumer good,
How about-
that's not the case.
So I always have the best luck when I start to compare this to cars. When I say to people, it's like,
Yep.
well, they're like cars. Are they all the same? Well, no. Like, okay.
Right.
There.
So to make that analogy, it's a good one. I thought about going there, and I didn't, and you did, so now I have to.
You don't have to. You can do your own analogy.
But no, it's good.
Talk about paint colors if you want.
So you can get a good, reliable car for a reasonable price, a low price even,
Yeah?
relative to other cars.
Yes.
Not relative to a bike, i.e. wood decking.
Wood decking. Yeah.
It's going to cost more. But what you get out of it, there's a lot more benefits to going to that.
Certainly.
But if you buy a Honda Civic, you're getting a good, reliable vehicle. It's going to do the purpose. Is it going to draw eyes and attention from your friends and neighbors? Probably not. It's just a functional car.
Yeah.
You could also step it up to what's your favorite high end car?
I don't know, like an Audi. No, I wouldn't say
sure,
high end. There's
Audi.
a mid one. You could do like an Audi A6. That's
Sure.
a nice car. That's
Yeah.
a little bit peppier.
Yeah. A little
Right.
bit nicer finish. Looks a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
A little bit more horsepower. A few more tech features in it.
Mid-grade composite.
Yeah.
Those exist.
Yeah.
And then you can get yourself a Lamborghini
There you go.
or a McLaren.
Sure. And all of those choices are fine. It's just what's within your budget, and if you actually value the benefits that those more expensive cars provide you. If you don't care about speed, and you don't care about the aesthetic, and you don't care about your neighbors oohing and awing over your car, then the Civic's going to be just fine for you.
Yep.
And you're going to be happy with it. The problem is that there's lots of cars on Alibaba too,
Yeah.
and you've never heard of them.
That's probably a good sign to not buy that.
Here's a Hollyba. A Hollyba Gen 2 Sputnik. It's only $8,000 on Alibaba, plus $4,000 to ship it to me.
Yep.
Look at that. Look at how cheap cars can be. Cars are cars.
Yeah. They're not.
That's not. You would never. Zero people in this market have bought their car off Alibaba because it costs less, because a car's a car.
Like, I would never say never, but probably
Lots of people
probably one person bought it just because. But anyways, yeah. No,
Buy
I know what you're
composite
saying. I know what you're
decking.
saying, yeah.
off the shelf at Home Depot. They've never heard of it before, or they go to some little joint in a strip mall that's like nothing but a tiny little showroom and promises to sell you composite decking for $1 a foot. The point is, this stuff's imported garbage. So it's okay. You don't have to spend $20 a square foot for good composite decking, but you do probably have to spend, and these are Canadian prices. For American friends, you're gonna have to like slash these numbers
Half.
10% of what I'm saying. Sure, in
Half. Yeah.
But you do have to spend a little bit more than the cheapest possible price you can find out there.
It's
So-
just like anything. It's like the old adage of you get what you pay for still exists in this world as well.
Yeah.
And so if you find something that's 99 cents a foot,
Question heavily.
don't expect it to be any better than wood. It won't be.
Yeah.
There's no warranty.
It'll be worse. The
It's
wood
probably
will
worse.
last 10 years.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the number of times that we had people come in, my mother included, come in because she bought a house with other shit on it.
Yeah.
And it's
just not
literally
good.
cracking and disintegrating within 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
So then you're doing it again, but this time you're probably, well, maybe you will make the same mistake again, but you probably shouldn't. Now you're going to buy the stuff you should have bought the first time. So now it's going to cost you way more to begin with. There's
Yeah.
garbage products out there. There's no doubt about
Well,
that.
with everything, right?
Yeah,
So
with
it's not.
everything. Wood decks are always cheaper to install than composite decks.
I don't know that I would say always.
So initially, the upfront cost obviously is going to be much less on.
Oh,
When we're
you're-
talking wood, let's say,
Yeah.
we're talking about like softwood decks, like a cedar or a pressure treated deck. Because certainly, if you go down the hardwood front, you can spend just as much as you would on a composite deck.
Absolutely.
But assuming that we're talking about pressure treated or cedar deck, the
Spruce
upfront
pine,
cost
sure,
is
yeah.
obviously much less.
Yep.
However, commonly when you look into some research, like what is the break-even point where financially it makes sense to do the composite deck, it's usually different reports between 8 and 10 years.
Yeah.
Where if you're going to maintain your wood deck properly and maybe you're going to pay somebody to do that, then by the time 8 to 10 years rolls around, you've spent as much on the deck as you would have if you were just done composite in the first place. But the composite at year 10 has 10 to 20 to 30 more years left of no maintenance. And the wood deck, you've got to continue that cost. So now after 10 years, it's actually becoming more and more and more and more expensive. And it's never going to last as long as a composite deck will.
You know what I just thought of is like pressure treated decks are basically just like children. And by the time they hit 16 or 17, then they really start to cost you money, you know?
Yeah.
Like when your kid turns 16, it's like now he wants a vehicle. And it's like, so that happens with a pressure treated deck. It's like now not only are you just standing, but now you're starting to replace boards and the railing is failing. And so now the posts are rotten. That's got to go. New railing.
Yeah.
Right. And so you get out to the like long in the tooth of a deck and it's like, now it's costing way, way more. It's
Yeah,
exhausting.
the older it gets, the more maintenance it requires. And then, at some point it needs all out replacement.
Yeah, there's some pretty blanket statements in there for sure that, you know, because if you did a high-end composite and pressure treated, the discrepancy isn't 9 years, it's probably 15 or 20. But the point being, if you think you're going to stay in your house for a long time, if it's your forever home, then make sure you do a composite deck.
Yeah.
Because it does end up costing less than a wood deck.
You betcha. Number 3, decking requires little to no maintenance. And so I think that this misconception or myth is applicable to every category of decking. How often do you hear people say like, oh no, it's pressure treated, so I don't have to do anything with it?
Yeah, that's the biggest one, right?
Oh no, it's cedar, it's got natural oils, so I don't have to do anything with it. Oh no, it's composite, it's maintenance free, I don't have to do anything with it. Like people think that about everything.
That's because that's what they want. They
Right.
think that because that's what they want.
And there's also like pressure treated, they just assume means it's been treated to withstand everything. That's not true. It's been treated to withstand rot.
Depends where
The
you are. 'Cause in
organisms
this-
that cause rot.
Yeah, in the States, they treat for insects as well, right?
Sure, insects, but not water, which is what causes the failure of these things in the first place.
Yes.
It's not water resistant.
It is not
It
water
will
resistant.
still absorb water.
Yep.
If it stays wet for too long, it will still eventually rot. So it does require maintenance. Just because it's pressure, you do still have to oil it or stain it or do something with it to maintain it.
Yeah, typically what I tell people in the store is that when you buy a pressure treated deck, all that has happened is your first coat of stain is applied for you. Now prepare to stain it like going forward. It just came with one coat of stain on it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even say that. Like,
But I do that
visually,
so
sure.
that people are ready to like
Water-based stain.
understand, right? They're like, oh, okay, so I do need to take care of this. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in just a few months, you should put this phenomenal product on it, right? And then
Yeah.
out the door with a can of Q-Tech, and away you go.
Yeah.
So
And then when it comes to cedar, same story. People are like, oh, it's cedar. It's naturally resistant to rot. Yeah, a bit more than pine is, but it's absolutely can still rot.
it does
It's
rot.
absolutely going to look like garbage if you don't take care of it in 3 to 5. It'll start turning on you within months, but it's going to look kind of shitty as it transitions to its gray patina for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, it's probably 5 before.
And then
it gets
unless
some
you're
nice color.
looking for rustic appeal, it's going to look like garbage. It's going to look like you didn't take care of it.
Yep.
If you want to maintain the beauty of cedar, and I don't care what you say, you do. You might say you don't because you don't want to work of maintaining it, but the reason you're buying cedar is you love how it looks and smells.
Yep.
You don't want it to go shitty.
Yeah. That's not the color that people want. And I know that because they've purchased it, told me that in the store, and then 2 years later or 3 years later, they show up and they're like, turns out I don't like it. I want it to be back. How do I get it back?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you use this product and then a whole bunch of elbow grease.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah,
here you go.
And then as far as composite decking goes, well, you have a couple options here. If you go with, what do you point at?
Well, I was going to talk about Scott Kelly's comment. He was just like, you're not going to get
0
15
chance.
years out of post-COVID lumber.
Yeah.
And you won't, not anymore. It's all fast growth. So that lumber used to be a lot more dense. You know, the trees would grow and then they would leave them standing for longer. So the grains would be tighter and the tree would just be stronger. Now it's like, as soon as it's up to first possible dimension that you can cut it, it's like, cut it.
Yeah.
Let's go. No more like strength and growth, just big wide rings. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And then when it comes to composite decking, assuming that you buy a capped composite, so there's uncapped composites that are still in the market that are going to fade and stain and everything else. And you're just like, that's a bad news story. Don't buy those. But assuming you buy one that is capped, that does have a stain and fade resistance to it, does clean up nicely. Things don't like, if you get some ketchup on it, it's okay. You just rinse it off.
Promptly.
There's
Rinse it off promptly.
Yeah. There's not a lot of maintenance, but you do want to still make sure that you're washing it off once in a while. Don't let a bunch of crap build up in it.
Mm-hmm.
If it gets some sap on it from a tree, you're going to want to address that. If you spill some food or wine on it, you're going to want to address that. If you have gravel on your driveway that you're tracking onto the deck all the time, you're going to want to address that. You're going to want to shovel snow off it. You just want to keep it clear. Does it require oiling and staining and maintaining that way? No. It's for sure way easier to maintain than any wood product.
Some of the stuff that would be good to actually maintain is like in between the deck boards, right? So you'll get like pine needles or leaves or whatever that pile up on top of the joists in between the deck boards. And like you should clean that out because it just traps moisture. And then now all of a sudden it's accelerating the rot on your frame. Yeah. So the composite board's going to last forever. It's plastic. Yeah. Your frame isn't. So
number 4, pressure treated wood is harmful. People think that it's chemically treated, therefore it's bad for you. So the new stuff, pro and con, the new stuff is not really bad for you. It's primarily copper. A lot of it is okay for use around vegetable gardens. It's okay. It doesn't bleach into the soil a bunch. Where this comes from is like ground contact lumber, or back in the days when they used to use arsenic in it. Yeah. It's like you didn't want to breathe that in. You didn't want to handle it a bunch. Yeah. You didn't want it leaching into the ground where you were growing a garden or something like that. Like that was bad news, but that's a thing of the past. It's also part of the reason why the lumber doesn't last as long anymore, is the chemicals we're using aren't as aggressive, but they are healthier and more environmentally friendly. So pro and con on that one, but no, it's not harmful. By putting a pressure treated deck in your house, by using some pressure treated lumber, you're not putting yourself in harm's way. I guess that's the point of that.
Yeah.
Number 5, composite decking is completely immune to damage. No. So this is a common misconception. People think like, for some reason, and I'm not sure why this is, but people seem to think like when they buy a new composite deck that it's just going to continue to look like it looks today forever. And it can, if you take really good care of it. But much like your flooring in your house, which you for some reason don't have that expectation, even though it has to resist way less elements than your outdoor flooring does, it can be scratched. It can be cut. Like if you are hard on it, it will show signs of wear. Totally.
Yeah, if you treat it like the furniture at grandma's place that used to have the plastic wrap on it, and then you could take the plastic wrap off twice a year, right? It was like Easter and Christmas. Yeah. That good furniture would come out. Yeah. If you treat your deck like that, it'll be perfect forever.
Now that said, if you're not hard on it, it will still look. My deck is probably about 7 years old now, and it's still, when I rinse it off, like in the spring, I'll get my pressure washer out and rinse off my siding and the deck and everything. It looks basically brand new. Yeah. But I don't have big dogs. I don't have, like, my lawn is all grass. There's no rocks coming up on the deck. Like, it looks brand new. Yeah. There is a spot where I scratched it a little bit that's hard to notice, but I know it's there. but it was my fault for taking a large, heavy box of stuff out of the tailgate back of my truck, setting on the deck and pushing it onto the deck. And there was gravel from my truck on the bottom of the box. That left a tiny little scratch. I don't think anybody else would find it but me. But stuff's not bulletproof, right? It can show.
I did that to a kitchen countertop one time.
Oh, yeah.
We like got some stuff from Costco, and I had a gravel. It was like a marble countertop. We had a little stone in the bottom of the box, and I did that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oops. A lot of this stuff too with minor scratching can be repaired with the use of a heat gun. Yeah. Even that scratch over time becomes less and less noticeable.
Certainly, it just like wears down, right?
Yeah. So there's that, but it's not bulletproof.
Yeah.
You can easily DIY a deck installation. So yes and no. I think this one's somewhere in between. A deck build absolutely can be DIY friendly if it's not super complicated, and if you're handy, then and you're willing to learn and follow the rules, then it absolutely can be a DIY project. However, I think people think it's easier than it actually is to do it properly.
I think people are just like, well, like we can put this up. We can throw this up.
Case of beer, we'll do it on Saturday.
Couple of buddies.
And then they come in here and you
can
tell them how it's supposed to go, and you're like, oh, that's not necessary, is it?
Why?
Connecting it to your house properly? Yeah. Yes, it's necessary.
That's the only necessary
What do you
part
mean?
right there. When people bring back all the structural screws and the hangers, it's like, well, my buddy said I didn't need this. It's like, what does your buddy do? Oh, he works for a phone company.
We had a bunch of screws in the basement.
He installs phone boxes on power poles. It's like, oh, so not a deck builder. No. Yeah. What do you think I do? Right? That's what I do. Live it every day.
Yeah.
So anyways, I think that most people that are handy can put a deck up. The difference is that you can't put it together well or nice, right?
Right.
Unless you pay attention to the details.
Yeah. There is usually going to be a significant difference in fit and finish from from the average DIY to the average professional need done job.
Yeah.
Think about drywall in a house.
Certainly.
Can pretty much anybody operate a drywall screw gun? Yeah.
Yep.
Can anybody lift a sheet of drywall onto the wall and sink a bunch of screws onto it? Yeah, I mean, anybody can do that. Can anybody mud and tape? Can you grab a putty knife and can you put... Yeah.
For sure you
can do it. Are you going to do it well? No.
Will it take you longer?
Way longer.
Absolutely.
The finish is going to be not as nice.
But that's okay. There's
Will you have a
equity in there.
drywalled wall? You will have a drywalled wall.
Just...
Same idea.
Like, don't be so proud that you don't take advice, I guess, right? If you're DIY, it's like, talk to the experts. Lots of people will share that information with you.
Right. Yep. And that's exactly why we're here. Like, go for it. We know you're going to try to build your own deck. So like, let us help as much as we can. Let's make sure that you build it as safe and as like nice as possible at the end. It's a big investment. Decking only adds aesthetic value. But it's also a very functional thing that can add to the value of your home as well. So,
yeah.
Functionally.
It's a little bit tricky. So you put a deck on the back of the house, and that obviously changes the value of your home when you go to sell it. Some things to be cautious about is if you're going to try and flip a house really quick, prospective buyers might look at a wood deck as actually a negative, right? It might not do anything good for you. Somebody walks in and is like, oh, I'm going to have to maintain that.
There's certainly a big difference in the studies I see all the time between a wood deck and a composite deck, because composite decks, they say, will actually add value to a home, assuming that it's not
as long as it doesn't look
not
like
super weird and like specific to somebody. But it can add a value to a home, and after 10 years, it maintains over 80% of its value.
Yeah.
So you put 10 grand into it, you're going to get at least 8 of it back. So you've added value to your home. And you'll get some of it back when you go to sell. Whereas wood decks, they say like after about 5 years, that actually becomes a liability.
Yeah.
To your point, because somebody walks back there and it hasn't been taken care of, they're like, even if it has been taken care of, it's like, shit, project.
Look at how much work I have to do twice a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Or it's not been taken care of and they're like, shit, I got to put a new deck in this place.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden you're asking $275, but they want to pay less because they think they have to replace the deck in the back.
Yep.
So it's not just
what houses are
aesthetic,
$275?
Yeah, apartments. All decking materials are environmentally unfriendly.
Not true. Nope, that's not true. Some are.
I was talking to somebody about this recently, about how everything can be spun into a green message. All types of decking
yeah.
can be spun into green type message. So let's go through it. You have your pressure treated decking. You can look at this and be like, it's very environmentally unfriendly because we're cutting down forests to produce it. It's like, yep, we're cutting down trees to produce that. But it's not plastic. Like when it's all done, it just kind of rots away. You can grind it up, put it back in the earth, and it's like, doesn't hurt anything though. When it's gone, it's gone. That's pretty environmentally friendly. Plus you can plant more trees. You can just, we can harvest this. We can regrow our decks. We don't have to cut down for it. Okay, so it can be good and bad. Same goes for cedar. Composite decking. A lot of plastic in that doesn't break down in landfills.
Ever break down.
That's not good. But it lasts for like 30 to 50 years though. You'd go through like 5 wood decks in that time. We're not cutting down any trees. And we're using recycled tree the stuff that we saw at the sawmill. You cut them all up and you have sawdust left over. Instead of throwing that garbage, we're throwing it we're reusing this. All of our grocery bags and our laundry detergent containers. Look at all that stuff not going to the landfill. It's going to this decking. Well, that's super green. Yeah.
Yep.
But when it does go to landfill, it's there forever. That's not good. That's not good.
But some of it gets reground up. Like you can recycle the recycled decking.
Yeah. Well, it's green again. Now we're green again.
Green again.
Then you go to PVC decking and it's like, now some of it's recycled, but it used to be where it was like all virgin plastic. You're like, oh, bad. That's bad. That's good. You're not saving any milk jug or any soap jugs? No. We got to use only virgin plastic.
Super clean stuff.
Like, I got to get the oil of the ground. We got to refine that into plat. That's not good. Yeah, but it lasts like 70 years. Oh, that's really good. Now that's not going into the landfill or ever. That's really good. That's so good. And then it's like, that's not good. Okay. What about hardwood decking? Oh, hardwood decking. Oh yeah, that's no good. That comes with a rainforest. We're cutting down rainforest. Like, how do we even know that was harvested sustainably? Like, how do we know that was even okay? Maybe people died like because they're cutting down rain. Yeah, that's no good. Yeah, but it lasts for like 80 years. Oh, that's way better than cutting down those soft trees. And it's like, there's like such a pro and con message to both. And every company, because it's so popular and trendy to be green right now, is really leaning into those messages about like how environmentally friendly their products are. But certainly there's truth to it.
They all do have some green message.
100%.
They also have some like black message too. It's there's death involved in all of it.
Yeah. I do think that like composite decking to me seems like the friendliest one. Because if it's using all recycled plastic or 95% of it's recycled, and we are pulling all of this trash out of the landfills, it's okay. If that deck board does go back to landfill at some point, it was going to be there 30 years ago and we kept it out of there for that long. So at least we've reused it and recycled it. And it's like it extended its life and less of it went to the landfill.
Yep.
And you're using the filler that goes in there is also going to be waste. Like essentially 95% of that product in most of them is from waste product. That's about as green as it gets, I think.
Yeah, I think like anything, you just got to try your best, you know? And so I believe that all of the industries have done that. I believe they're all trying their best to be as environmentally friendly as possible.
Yeah.
Some of it won't be. It can't be. It's not actually possible.
Yeah.
We're here to like burn the planet down. That's our job as humans. And so we're doing it.
So anyways, if that's high in your priority list is environmentally friendly, there's maybe some that'll stand out to you more than others, but it's certainly not all bad. Cheaper materials mean lower quality. Number 9. Yeah, usually. That's what I'm missing.
Like I can think of, so off the top of my head, I think about Fibron Good Life decking, and it comes in at a lower price point. But I would put that up against some of the higher end, like I would put that against high end deck boards all day.
Even within its own line.
Absolutely.
Good Life against Sanctuary, for example.
Yeah, and I think Good Life
is it lower quality? No, I don't think it's lower quality. Yeah. Is it technically weaker because of the profile of it? Like technically, yes. Is it technically not as pretty? Yeah, it's not as pretty, but it doesn't mean it's less quality.
Yeah.
It's still a very quality board. You know what I mean? Or at that price point, is it better than this other one that costs a little bit more, but the brand isn't as well? No, like I would say for the most part, this often is true, but it's not all the story all the time. You can still get quality products at reasonable prices. You don't have to buy the Lamborghini. You can still get the Honda Civic. The Honda Civic is still a quality product. Not a Lamborghini, but still a quality product.
But there are some, like there are some boards that are cheap, and like if it's so cheap that you have to tell somebody about how cheap it was, it's probably too cheap.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if you phone your buddy and you're like, you're not going to believe this. I've been shopping for a deck for months and I will cut it in half.
Yeah.
That
What did you buy?
red flag.
Yeah. Finally, we have decks don't add resale value. We touched a little bit on this on the aesthetic comment as well, but and again, there's an asterisk on this too because they may or may not. But a good functional deck that is built properly with good materials and people that are shopping for your house appreciate that can add lots of value as much as like a really nice kitchen can as well.
Certainly, because some of the stuff you can think about is when you're designing a deck or when you're putting the deck on, we talk about this in the store lots. If you find that you have a really limited dining room area in your house, then make your deck more dining room focused.
Yeah.
And when people tour through your house to purchase it, they'll be like, oh, that's a really tight dining room. And then they go out on the deck and it's like, oh, but look, this is all set up. And for 5 months of the year, we can, or 6 months, or depending on where you live, we can use this as our dining room, right? Keep that in mind. And it's a lot less money square foot wise to build a deck than it is to put an addition on your house, right? It costs you $150 a square foot to put an addition on your house.
Well, and imagine if you were somebody selling your home, you had built this nice deck where you could entertain outside and like it has like whatever, some built-in seating with like an ice bucket built into it for drinks and whatnot. It's got a built-in kitchen over here. It's got this covered area with a big TV on it. It's maybe something that you would never even think to build in your own house or you wouldn't want to put the time. But if somebody who's looking for houses comes upon that and they're the type of people that like they love entertaining. Yeah. They're the guys that hold the Super Bowl parties all the time.
Yeah.
And they walk in and see that. They're like, oh shit, wow. I want, like, that's the house. We looked at another one just like this, same size, same whatever, but this one has this. I would pay more for the one that I just envisioned being able to, like, to be I'm the center of attention. I'm the guy throwing the party. This is going to be sweet.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So you can do that. And if you mail it in and throw up a 10 by 10 or a 12 by 12 and it's pressure treated and not built well and your buddies did it on a weekend with a case of beer, then nobody's going to value that.
That's table stakes. If you're just building an access to your barbecue, people just expect to have that.
Yep.
So you're worse off if you don't have it, but you're not adding much to it. It's like, that's just expectations.
Boy, I don't know. Hard to know.
So industry full of misconceptions and myths and whatever. Those are 10 that I think we just dispelled all of them. So worry not, people. We've got your backs. But that's why it's important to do your research when you get into this stuff, because there are a lot of things that go around out there that another misconception that you hear all the time, not all the time, but you used to hear like, oh, Trex had so many issues and whatnot. And people used to come in and say that I've seen this. And it's like, yeah, lots of companies have had warranty issues in the past and that stuff tends to linger, but we're decades removed from that. It's like, that was first generation product. But the problem is when things go to the internet, they live forever. And if you search for problems, you'll find them. So not everything you hear or read or see is relevant. I like that a couple people recently have commented on some of our YouTube posts from 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And said like, hey, I just watched this video. Do you still feel the same way about this product now as you did when you recorded it?
Oh, nice.
That is a great question to ask because stuff does change.
Yeah.
And so on those, on the couple that I'm specifically thinking of, no, I don't feel as strongly about that product anymore as I used to. Why? Well, I feel like quality's maybe slipped a little bit. The service isn't there as much as it used to be. Is it still a great product? Yes. Am I as much of a raving fan as I was when we recorded this video? Not as much. And who knows? Maybe in like certain products, since we've been in the industry, have been sold 2-3 times to different companies.
Yes.
You might record a video of, for example, clubhouse decking that we used to be a big fan of. For a while was owned by, what was the first company when we first started? Was it DeCunic was first, and then who was in between? Then it went to somebody else.
Oh no, maybe DeCunic was
I feel like they were the second one. There was somebody before them, and I can't remember now. Yeah. And then it went to DeCunic, then it went to True North. So in 7 years, it's been owned by 3 different companies.
Yep.
The product has largely remained unchanged, but that's not always necessarily the case. When it changes hands, things can change. So we might throw a review out there in 2019 about a product that we think is just absolutely amazing.
Yep.
And somebody watches it in 2022 and they're like, oh, you guys said it was amazing. And it was like, oh no, sorry. But totally in 2021, they were sold to a company overseas, and like they just like drove the profit out of that stuff there. And all of a sudden they were having warranty issues. Like, so you have to you have to pay attention to the time sensitivity of some of this feedback as well. So
Yeah, certainly that happens. So
what else? Any other misconceptions off the top of your head that you can think of that we didn't touch on?
well, lots of people talk about like how it's hot. We
Right.
didn't cover any of that.
That was what kind of spurred the idea for this. Was hot and slippery composite decking.
And I don't know that I can dispel any of that. I can't say that. Like I can't say that composite decking is not hot. It typically is, right? But so is the sand at the beach, and so is concrete, and so is like if you have a wood deck and you stain it dark brown, that's going to be hot. So typically color is what's going to affect heat more than anything else. Certainly there are some boards that cool off a little bit faster or they dissipate the heat better once the sun is off it.
Yep.
But if you're in the sun and it's, 100, 105, it's hot.
Yeah.
Stuff's hot.
I think the omission of data is probably where the misconception lies in that people are like, composite is hot. Yes. And to your point, it's like, so are other things, but by not mentioning the other things, people just assume that, well, the other ones are cooler then. Composite is hot. Go with wood because it's cooler. No, wood gets hot too.
That's
They
right.
both get hot.
Yeah.
Does it get as hot? It depends. Like a light colored composite and wood isn't that much different. Wood that's oiled immediately gets hotter. Wood that's oiled with a dark color is much, much hotter.
Yep.
So it's not just like, you got to make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Certainly, to your point, the lighter the color, the better. There are different products that have some built-in technologies that help to resist the heat more. Is it cool? No. I don't like the
I don't think
use of the
any
word
of-
cool in the marketing jargon
Yeah.
for it.
Yep.
Are they less hot? Yes. Is your concern that your dog's paws are going to be, they can't walk on it? If that's the case, there are products that is not a concern with.
Yeah.
Some of them are. Doesn't mean it's cool, but it's just not as hot as to cause flesh wounds.
Yeah. But also to that point, it's like dogs are resilient. Kids are resilient. I've watched this happen. It's like the deck is really hot and a dog, like they just use their brain and they don't stand on it. They move.
I can promise you that I have never stepped on a deck that was hotter than the threshold of the door you walk out to get onto the deck gets.
Yeah. That's right.
A
That
dark
aluminum.
colored, that piece of aluminum,
Yeah.
when you walk out, that shit
That'll burn you.
gets fiercely hot.
That'll burn you. Yeah.
So, anyway, that's some common misconceptions about the decking industry. If you have anything else that you're wondering about that we didn't mention, of course, just shoot us a message. We can help dispel those as well. Or maybe confirm them. Who knows? See you next week.
Hey, thank you for listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Now you know what we're about. Check the site, come and shop. UltimateDeckShop.com. Hit us right away for sponsorships. So tell us if you want to collaborate. Let's go. Check us out on any social networks. Thank you for listening.